Morning, morning. Is it actually morning? No, I guess that's just what I do at this point. So anyway, little intro to what this video as well as what this series is going to be. So this series I'm going to title actually useful information of the Araroa Trail. So if you've been following along, you know a lot of my videos are very long formatted videos, anywhere from 20 minutes to 30 minutes, 40 minutes per day, because I get a lot of passion and I get a lot of joy out of that filming style. And when I film those videos, I'm showing you our journey along a trail, and I try to put in useful pieces of information, but I know sifting through that sheer amount of footage can be difficult. So kind of had this idea while hiking the Araroa Trail was to go back through the footage and consolidate it into what I call useful information. So what this video is and what this series is going to be is kind of a progression of the sections where we went from resupply point to resupply point. And what I'm going to do is edit the footage and kind of give you an overview of the terrain. You'll see the clips along the way, but I'm also going to try my hand at voice overing, which I haven't done before, so we'll see how that goes. But do some voiceover and give you the information that Magpie and I really wish we would have had before we started the TA hike. Whether that's for a through hiker, section hiker, day hiker, kind of the information that you need to start a trail, because we didn't anticipate how different the structure of the culture in New Zealand, the hiking culture, the trail, how different the structure of the hike would be from our normal hiking in Canada and the US. So this is kind of the information that we wish we would have had. Of course, there will be water sources pointed out, recommendations for resupplies, kind of what the terrain is, averaging pace, a lot of bits and pieces of information. Camping, free camping on the North Island is, you'll see. And then just everything a hiker needs to know before getting out on the Araroa Trail. So let's go try our hand at this, see what it's about. If you like this format, definitely leave a comment below, because yeah, just playing around with it, seeing how it will turn out. So hopefully these videos are of use to some folks for planning a TA hike. So if you are going southbound on the Araroa Trail, the first section is going to be from Cape Reinga to the town of Kaitaia. Along that section, as you can see, it starts at a lighthouse. It kind of starts at the official ending of State Highway 1, and this sign will actually be mimicked, kind of similar, at the very end of your hike and bluff. So take a quick look at that sign, get a quick picture, and look out for the next sign, 3,000 kilometers away through some chonky terrain. But anyway, there's a few options to get to this point, because the logistics of getting to a hike are always the hardest. You can take the inner city bus from any major town in the North Island of New Zealand, and along that bus ride you will get to Kaitaia, and there'll be a sign on that same bus that can provide you access to the connecting bus to the Cape. So once you get to the Cape, you go touch the sign and then you start walking, and as you can see, it's just automatically just gorgeous. You got broad sweeping views. You pop down to the beach, and along the beach you're walking really nice flat sandy beach. It is very windy, so be prepared for the wind. Get some type of ear covering possibly. Definitely bring sunscreen. As you see here, you do have flat pockets, but then you also do a good amount of climbing the first day. You kind of go up and over these bluffs. If you see in the distance, that's the first bluff you start on, and then you drop down to the beach, climb back up. These really beautiful bluffs. As you can see, Magpie's very much smiling right there. And you have a little bit of grassland, but overall, the flavor of the first day, most people go to this camp spot called Twilight Camp, and if you're on the inner city bus schedule, you won't be able to even get to the town of Kaitaia until 3:20ish. So a lot of the time, people only go 7 miles or so in the beginning, and it's still a good push, good 7 miles. It kind of gives you multiple flavors, and there's the name of Twilight Camp right there. That is exactly why it's called that. It is just a beautiful overlook. There is water there, and yeah, you can just kind of set up. There's a little shelter you can kind of congregate, start chatting with some other hikers. You will be starting with at least a little pocket of hikers. The Araroa is increasing in popularity, so like any trail, like any popular trail, you'll sort yourselves out with pace and hopefully keep your feet dry when you can. But the second day, you have a few options the second day. You can do either 18 miles or you can do 35. So really not an option for a whole lot of people, because the second day of hiking, you really don't want to aggressively do 35 miles unless you're in really good shape, because even though there's a lot of beach and this is a lot of quote-unquote wilderness, you are not allowed to free camp along the beach. So you have to go to these specific campsites, and a lot of the time these specific campsites also are the only places that have water. So the second day, when you're leaving Twilight, you go up and over the bluff, and a few scenes ago you could see when we were looking over the official 90-mile beach. And it's called 90-mile beach, but it is actually only about 60 miles, so maybe they were supposed to call it kilometers, who knows. So this is the view that you're going to be working with for a few days, depending on your pace. You're going to have a lot of sand, a lot of wind, a lot of water, fingers crossed, blue skies. It could be pretty brutal. You're very exposed along here, so it could be pretty brutal if you got caught in some storms. But kind of taking the scenery, kind of see these little tidal creeks that you do have to ford every so often. As you see, Magpie's only getting her feet wet. It's not a massive ford. We may have gotten lucky. We didn't time it with low tides and high tides, but for the most part, I don't think there are any big fords in that beginning section. And as you can see, the wind does rip through there. Again, I would recommend heavily a buff or some type of gear that can block your ears if you are wind sensitive, as I am, because that wind just rips through. So the second night, most people get to this camp spot, Manganui, pardon the pronunciation, campground, huge flat expanses, very open, can pitch many tents here. There's a little shelter, there's water here, but be very cognizant of where you pitch your tent, because as you see, some rainstorms can move in pretty aggressively, and we were almost in a lake. So be very cognizant of where you pitch your tent, because the wind and the rain can be pretty aggressive through there. The third day, you have a few options again. You can go to the first campsite, which I believe is about 17-18 miles away, or you can go to the second camp spot, which is a holiday park, about 29 miles away. And we decided to go to the second one. It is flat terrain, but also be prepared with the flat terrain, because it's not quote-unquote easy. It is easy walking, but your body's getting acclimated. A lot of people have issues with this very flat terrain in the first few days of a hike, myself included, because it's the same muscle group over and over and over again. So people develop blisters, people's muscles haven't caught up to what they're demanding of them. So I had some knee pain. It's just the same muscle group over and over. So actually, recommendation, take it slower than you want to, because that mileage will catch up to you of just the constant pounding on the flat terrain. So as you can see, we're doing a drying out party here. There's a lot of condensation. It's a beach. There's water everywhere, in the sky, on the coast, as you see. Water everywhere, so be prepared for a lot of condensation. Also be prepared for this beach to be any degrees, warm or cold, especially if rain comes in. It could get very cold. Here was our first official water source. A lot of the time the water is only at camps. There are a couple listed natural sources, but be prepared for longer carries than you would expect, sometimes even 20 miles. We did get lucky with the rain that it did fill up that water source, so we were able to filter that. But for the most part, be prepared to do longer carries than you would think would happen along a beach. Most of the water is just only at the campgrounds. And I'll say it again, bring sunscreen. You can get burnt. So this is what a kind of holiday park looks like. On the North Island, you will start experiencing quite a lot of them. Holiday parks are pretty much where you can camp legally for a lot of the North Island. They have showers, they have flat spots to pitch your tent, they usually have communal kitchen, or you can bring your ramen and salami, whatever you want to do there. So holiday parks are a really nice infrastructure of New Zealand that you'll get familiarized with, and I'll walk you through more in future videos. But condensation city, get ready for it out there. So it's really cruisy walking. Sometimes you get a little deeper sand than you would prefer, hence here. And if you do see a car stuck in said sand, help them out, because you may not know what that will bring about. One, be a good Samaritan, but two, we ended up getting koa from them to us, which was kind of interesting, but it was very sweet of them. So yeah, it's a team morale booster, team building sport out there. So get ready for this view. That is your view for pretty much days. Find a good podcast, find a good music book, find a good partner to have a conversation with. You'll be walking a lot of beach. You'll be ready for the beach to end. It's beautiful, but you'll definitely be ready for it to end near the end. Well, near the end, yeah, there you go. So the first town you get into is Araroa. Some people stay there. There is a holiday park. They have a little cafe. They have a little grocery store. And they have, kind of the necessities you need. So if you are feeling like it, you can stay there. If not, the bigger town of Kaitaia is about 8 more miles away by the road. And you will see some sheep, your first sheep of the hike. Also, spark note that, or mentally note that, because sheep will become your friends. So, as you can see, the shoulder kind of fluctuates on this road walk. There's a lot of fear-mongering along this road into Kaitaia, but overall, just be cognizant. You can see you have to walk in the grass at some portions, but just be aware of your surroundings. It's really not that bad. Just be aware. Just be aware of the cars coming at you, and if you need to get out of the way, it's easier for you to get out of the way than it is for that big car to get out of the way. Also, say hi to the cows. They will say hi to you back with a moo. Almost rhymed there, but this is informational, not weird Constantine version. So you keep walking into Kaitaia, and there's many options to stay in Kaitaia. You have the Beachcomber Hostel, which we stayed at. The infrastructure of these trail towns is really good for trampers/hikers. They have a lot of hostels, so got many accesses to food. We went to the Pack and Save, which is a giant bulk store that you can resupply at. They also have miniature grocery stores. But overall, you can find what you need and get ready for the next section. Rest up, get your laundry done. Let's go get it.